Welcome in my panel, former senior economic advisor for President Donald Trump, Stephen Moore, and entrepreneur Tom Maoli. Hello, guys. How are you?
How you doing, John?
All right. So, Stephen, I want to start with you. Today, I was totally befuddled. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre makes this most ridiculous statement. Take a listen to this.
When we talk about recession and we talk about where we are currently today, what we look at and what we speak to is the facts.
Baseless to me and no facts, but Stephen, you're the economist. Give us the lowdown on this.
Well, look, we're in a recession, no question about it. And it's really not a GDP recession, John. I'm calling this a cost of living recession. Americans are just getting crushed by this pride and inflation. When you have 9% inflation over the last year and wages are up by about 5 to 5.5%, that means every month workers are getting poorer. And so with respect to income, people's incomes are falling. People are getting poor. And when people are getting poor, you know what, John? They think that they're in a recession. And so we estimate at the Heritage Foundation that the average family has lost between $3,500 and $4,000 in the last year due to this high inflation, that people's incomes are not keeping up pace. And that's why you see people, so depressed about this economy. When you have 82% of Americans, John, who say the economy is headed in the wrong direction, those, John, are worse numbers than Jimmy Carter had.
Right.
And so, by the way,
there's that many people, we're going in the wrong direction. But
I'm so glad you found that quote from Ronald Reagan. That's one of my favorites of all time. I think that won him the election.
Amazing. And Tommy, for just a moment, let's forget about definitions and 2/4 of GDP. On my show, Wise Guys, we go out and talk to small business owners and regular people. You own a business. What are you seeing on the ground? What's the hiring like? I would imagine it's going to get much more difficult for small businesses to borrow with this happening or with the rates happening. What's it like for you to move product?
Listen, you can't get product is the problem. And the reality of it is if you look at what's going on in the marketplace today, and what I think that the White House is not understanding is that this is not a demand-based inflationary period in the history of this country. This is a supply-based. The last 4 inflationary cycles in the history of this country were demand-based. And what we do is we raise interest rates to bring down the demand to the supply. We try and level it out, and we get back to normal. That's not happening because you can continue to raise interest rates. You can push them to 20%. You're not going to bring the demand down to the supply. There is no supply. So unless they can fix the supply chain issues, we're going into a recession. And, listen, to move less than a basis point is, it's a recession when you look at the statistics. But the reality of it is it's going to get a lot worse because as they raise interest rates, you're going to push the demand down. But you can't get the demand to zero because there is no supply. We got to raise the supply. That's the only way to fix this. Clearly, the White House doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know how to fix the supply chain issues.
Got it.
They don't know how to get the economy moving again, and it's not happening.
Steve, in our last minute here, I got to ask you about the Fed. Hiked rates again yesterday, another 75.
Doesn't matter.
Almost 2 points in 4 months. They're threatening another 3/4. Stephen Moore, that's going to just continue to destroy the economy. It's not going to have any stimulative effect, will it?
Yeah, Tom is right, by the way. Things are going to get worse. And I'll tell you, last night, John, I literally could not sleep when I heard the news about Joe Manchin caving in. That bill that he's talking about with Chucky Schumer is a total catastrophe for our country. I mean, does it make any sense when we have high inflation and a recession to, number one, be raising government spending by another $500 billion, and then, John, on top of that, taxing our producers like Tom, who produce the goods and services? That is a prescription for economic disaster. Shame on Joe Manchin. He knows better. He's the one who said, by the way, John, he's the one, you can find it on tape. I want you to find this on Newsmax. He said, you don't raise taxes in a recession. And that's exactly what he's endorsed.
Steve, 30
and John,
seconds,
if they're looking at jobs as their growth and that's their indicator for not being in a recession. Jobs are going to continue to grow because we have no supply. In order to create supply, we have to hire people and we have to get the economy moving again. Of course, jobs are going to grow. There are no jobs. There's no supply. So as the jobs grow, they're using that as their indicator. It's a recipe for failure. They're going to crash their plane.
Well, we hit them from both sides, from the chief economist to the man on the street, and I think we're all feeling the same thing. Guys, thank you both so much. Stephen Moore, Tom Maoli, appreciate you guys. Thanks. All right. Now, we here at Newsmax, we love spotting Newsmax on TVs and small businesses and bars and restaurants around the whole country. And tonight, we want to give a special shout out to Cal, who spotted Newsmax at Club Four Corners in Scranton, Kansas. Next time you're out at a bar or a hotel or an airport, ask them to turn on Newsmax, snap a quick pic, send it over to iSpottedNewsmax.com, and you may see your picture right here on the air. All right, we're just getting started, everyone. Call your friends. Tell them to turn on Newsmax right now because we're digging into all today's biggest stories for the rest of this hour, and it would be a shame for any of your friends to miss it.